This is a very, very special day. The end of the old and the beginning of the new. All happening amidst the beauty, the softness, the stillness of winter. These moments are a time of reflection, to meet with the self, a beautiful time just being with the self. Reflecting on the gifts I've received from the old, how much I have grown, how much I have learned, how much I've accumulated. Looking at the self in such an appreciative and light way. And also setting my vision on the new. Dreams, aspirations, hopes. Setting my sights very clearly. And with a lot of self-trust. On that path that leads so faithfully to my highest potential. This meeting of the old and the new. This time of deep reflection. It's also a time of so much enthusiasm, so much inner excitement, looking at the canvas of the new year, on which I paint the masterpiece of my life. Using all the tools, all the hues of inner wisdom to create something so meaningful, so beautiful. It will even touch the hearts of others, inspire others. I'm ready to take full benefit of this very precious moment. This meeting of the old and the new.
होने पे ये आवाज चली गई, वो वाली अनम्यूट करना पड़ेगा, वो आवाज
Good evening, warm welcome. Happy holidays, happy new year. Lovely to have you join us tonight. We're delighted that you have. My name's Judy, and I am here representing the Brahma Kumaris. So this is a program out of Calgary, but in these current times, everything is global. So it's coming from somewhere in the ether, really. And I know it's past Christmas time, so you're wondering, why is she wearing a Christmas hat? Well, there's a few reasons, but one of them is it's keeping me warm, because this is coming to you from our basement. We have our studio in the basement. And so this keeps me warm, and it's really a sign of the times. I think many of us in these times, when we're online so much to connect, have studios in very different parts of our homes. So we'll come to that later. But for now, we want to welcome you and also introduce our special guests. So this evening's event, Tune In to the New Year, is a play on words, because our special guests are beautiful singers, but also quite insightful, both of them insightful students of the Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual Organization. So they're both Raj yogis and both very talented performers. So we're really fortunate to have them with us today. And that means our introduction of them is going to be a little bit unique. Rather than me going on about all of their incredible achievements, of which there are many, we are going to get them to introduce themselves by way of song. So we're going to tune in from the get-go. So first up is Tanya, who's coming to us from Montreal. And she is multi-talented in oh wow, look at that. There she is, multi-talented. And I know you're thinking, is it Tanya or is it Judy? I don't know. There'll be a quiz at the end in case you're confused. The hat will help you out. Hat? No hat. I'm not sure which direction she is. But Tanya is actually co-coordinator of the Brahma Kumari Center in Montreal and many other wonderful hats that she wears, but we'll let her introduce herself through song. So over to you, Tanya.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I've heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over that rainbow, skies and bluebirds fly, they fly so high. Birds fly over that rainbow. Why, oh why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow wide, then so can I.
I see some waving of appreciation going on. So that was stunning. That's another way that you can tell us apart, actually, is just ask us to sing and it will become very clear who is who. So how many feel that Tanya should just sing for the entire program? How many would like that? Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? You might feel differently when you hear our next guest. You might change your answer because our next guest, also a longtime Raj Yogi student, who's currently based in Toronto, is also an amazing performer, world-renowned actually, jazz performer. And that would be Denzel Sinclair. Again, so many different achievements I could list that would take all evening to describe Denzel, but I'm going to let him sing for himself. So over to you, Denzel.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the well. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where his feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day. May each day in the week be a good day. May the Lord always watch over you, and may all of your hopes turn to wishes, and may all of your wishes come true. May each day of the month be a good day. May you make friends with each one you meet, and may all of your daydreams be memories, and may all your memories be sweet. The weeks turn to months, and the months turn to years. There'll be sadness and joy, there'll be laughter and tears. But one thing I pray to heaven above, may all of your days be a day full of love. May each day in the year be a good day. May each dawn find you happy and gay, and may all of your days be as lovely as the one you shared with me today. May each day of your life be a good day, and good night.
So we'll check in again. How many just want Tanya to sing, or how many would like a show with Tanya and Denzel? I can go away. I don't mind. Actually, if I sing, you would all go away, so I will not sing. But that was so, so beautiful. So I'm giving my wave of appreciation here. That was beautiful. I could easily listen to you both sing for the entire time, and maybe I'll try to arm wrestle another song out of you later. We didn't plan that, but I just realized, oh, they should sing more. Anyway, so both of you sang beautiful songs that were really about blessings and visions and hope and very inspiring. So we'll look at that and that feeling around those kinds of songs and expressions. Oh, we've got both are fabulous. I'll give you I'll let you in on the secret. They both are professional. These are not shower singers here, closet singers. These are both professionals. So what makes it beautiful is they are professional singers who blend their singing with their spiritual efforts as well. So it has you probably felt a very different feeling to it. Very sweet. So yes, you all sound lovely. That would be those two. So thank you again. We're just getting a lot of comments of appreciation. And what we thought we'd do is not just listen to them sing, which of course would be beautiful, but also listen to them share their thoughts. We felt that usually we do a story on New Year's Eve, and we were very much heading in that direction. But then we thought this is such a unique year. And maybe it might be useful if we all come together and just listen to ideas about how to process what happened in this very unique past year and how to use that processing to shape our vision, our direction, our attitude, our intention going into the new year. So it's quite an interesting time, this moment between the old and the new. And so we're going to interview Tanya and Denzel, their thoughts, ideas, aspirations around this theme. And there's also the opportunity, if you have a question that you would like to pose to them at any time in the interview, just chat it, put it into the chat box, but address it to interviewer so I can pick it up and it won't disturb everyone else seeing a lot of chats floating by as it's going on. So for those who might not be familiar with this, I will walk you through. At the bottom, there's some icons on your Zoom window. One says chat. So you can click on that chat icon and a hover window should open up that's labeled chat. At the bottom of the window, there's a cursor that's blinking where you would type. Just above it is a blue drop-down button that probably says everyone right now. Chrissy, I'm sorry, I have to stop and say, Chrissy, we are so happy to have you with us. Chrissy has made our event international. She's in Australia, so it's 2021 there, so this is really odd. Anyways, back to what I was doing. Oh, we've got all these hearts. I'm giving you a big virtual hug from here, Chrissy. So back to that that everyone button. If you click on it, there will be a drop-down menu, and in that drop-down menu, I am hoping that you can scroll until you find something that says interviewer. I can't find myself, so I can't really show you that, but there should be something called interviewer. Make sure that it's selected to interviewer rather than everyone, and then it will come to me, and I am happy to pose your questions to Tanya and Denzel. And if it's specifically to one of them, just let us know. So, oh yeah. Yeah, we should invite Chrissy to sing in another program. Anyways, I'll stay focused. So the first question is a very broad umbrella kind of question that's looking at the year 2020. And again, both of you are quite involved in the spiritual organizations. So we very intentionally in this study look at how we're spiritually approaching things. We're very intentional in our attitudes and our perspectives. But as you're sitting here now, after the passage of a very unique year, what sorts of learnings did you take from this year? How did you process this year? What did you focus on? What were your attitudes and feelings? So it's a very broad question to just share your experience, either in looking back or as you were passing through the year. How did you position yourself spiritually? this past year. So we'll start with Tanya.
Hi, everyone. Om Shanti. Really happy to be joining you here. And it is, I'm actually thankful to have this opportunity to reflect on the year because it certainly was unique. I was one of the individuals who I am working outside of what I do within the organization at the center, but I didn't work much, at least not outside of the center. And then the center went online, which I think has been a very common theme for many. And it meant having to, hit the ground running with acquiring a lot of new skills and spending a lot of time in front of the computer. I've always been a fairly physically active person, although perhaps less in the last, maybe decade or so. But this year saw a lot more sitting, which is, been a bit of a how can you say, adaptive or an aspect to adapt to, definitely. But, when I think back to the very beginning of it, it was such an incredible time. It was almost as if you were suddenly in this, it's not a vacuum, but there was so much silence and there was this space created. And in fact, I came into, I almost want to call it something other than COVID, this COVID context. But I came into this very, very unique context. I mean, I think to experience something on a global level, something that was so different from every other year, really. Perhaps other generations that have gone through global events have had something like this. But, this was an event, yes, where there's been a lot going on in terms of, people were losing their lives. People were working around the clock. People were not knowing what to do with themselves. People were, running to keep up. So there was a lot of extremes going on. But personally, I came into this having come back from India and actually having come back from a silence retreat. And it felt kind of like the silence continued in a way. But it was asking me to perhaps take a look at myself in a way that perhaps I don't get the opportunity to, even though I'm in a practice that, if you will, daily demands self-reflection, introspection. It was as if the atmosphere and the context, you were put in relief to it, almost under a spotlight is the experience I had. And there was this quiet. And I mean, even on the level of internet, everything, there wasn't much going on, actually. There was just this low level of activity, quiet. I live in Montreal, and it was a silence I'd never experienced here before. And then things started to ramp up. Everything started to go online, and we had to start to get our activities up and running. And certainly in this organization, we found that there was a lot going on, a lot of online activities offering programs, sustenance, all sorts of things. And, it could be very easy to just plunk yourself down and have your whole world suddenly reduced to a screen. That wasn't so much the case for me, even though I did find myself at the computer, because one thing all of this requires an incredible amount of admin. There's a lot more admin. And, I was doing things like having to create a weekly schedule for the members of the center that we never had to do before, a weekend schedule every week, which took hours for some reason. And all these different things. And yet at the same time, realizing that it could be so easy to have your time just filled up with this organizing activity or just passively viewing. And you kind of had to make a decision that I want to actually have a sense of myself and what I need, and perhaps what this time is demanding me to, if you will, emerge within myself to meet what is happening around me and to feel productive, truly productive and useful, but also growing in some way. That you had to be able to have some independent sense of what you needed and how I'm going to create that for myself. It was often seen that there were sort of two camps, those who were, their lives just ramped up enormously and were running, just unbelievably busy. And on the other side, those who really didn't know what to do with themselves. And, one of the issues that could happen is you could be at the computer for hours without even realizing the time passing. And, I'm a movement instructor. I teach Pilates. And that's probably one of the worst things you can do for your body. So, if you aren't self-organizing, it could get very unhealthy. And I found at times, even with all the knowledge I have and the awareness I have, you have to pay attention, because I sort of found myself at times slipping into that. And so one of the things, that became really apparent is you've got to organize your time. You've got to make sure you do the things that are going to, and I can turn it very personally. I needed to do this for myself and ensure that I didn't just sort of slip into becoming quite passive in my life because of all the things that were being demanded and all the things that I could give my time to that didn't require me to do anything at all, really, except be present and watch and listen. And so, I think there's things that I do want specifically for myself, and, to keep reminding myself, I want to be able to be present with others, with myself, even on a subtle level, just globally, how I energetically am interfacing with the world, which is a big part of our practice, is that as spiritual beings, we have the opportunity to really exert a very incredibly benevolent and positive force. But it takes attention and it takes choices, constantly making the choice to nurture that. And I found that a really wonderful way to balance what was being demanded of me in terms of, and I say demanded, but it's not demanded, the things I wanted to participate in. And so, yeah, it's been very much an opportunity to increase my capacity to be present very positively, and also to interact with the others around me who, I could go for weeks without seeing many of them, maybe passing online, but to be able to stay connected, even if it's just on a thought level and on an awareness level, and really to develop these spiritual capacities that we have that allow us to stay connected and to support each other in a very effective, a very efficient manner, actually, because, it's, and in a way that allows the person to grow, allows me to grow. So I was quite enjoying that in terms of ramping up, if you will, my efforts on myself, on my own, if you will, growth, transformation, as well as making sure that I stay balanced in what I'm doing. But also being very aware, to be quite honest, the COVID context definitely touches you in the sense you're hearing things, you're seeing things, you're knowing things. But in a way, it all was a bit distant on a very practical level for me personally. But very much, in my heart, really feeling for the souls that were definitely being directly and very strongly affected by this, and what is my responsibility within that. So in a way, that's the year, and of course it still continues.
Thank you so much, Tanya. That was a beautiful, full response. And again, I'm realizing we should have them sing more. And we actually need more time for the interview too. We did get one response, a question out of that, but also a response. Listening to Tanya feels as if I am hearing my head's voice from her mouth. I agree with everything she is saying. This year made me realize so many things which I am grateful for. So very beautiful to feel that connection, actually. And there was, I think, a very important point you brought up about self-efficacy and self-management, etc. We might come back to if there's time. But first, we would love to hear Denzel's response as well.
Well, thank you, and good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year in advance. It's funny. I think I might have typed that comment in the chat because as Tanya was speaking, I thought, yeah, that, yes, and yeah, we exactement. I was feeling, the very same things, and it obviously it's been an incredible year, and what an opportunity it has been for me to, and as Tanya mentioned earlier, we are, given what we practice, fairly introspective to begin with, but this opportunity, allowed me to see, well, how much can I generate my own sense of contentment, independent of what's going on. I've always, liked to see both sides of the coin, and in my life, or have a big picture type of attitude, and just be a sort of a positive, rather than a devil's advocate, or maybe an angel's advocate at times. And what with, when first our situation, I don't even like to give it energy. Actually, I don't even like to refer to the disease by the name. It's almost become a brand in a way. So I remember the amazing stillness, as Tanya mentioned earlier, that I'm in Toronto, by the way, and the stillness that was in the city when people were, we had the restrictions, and there was just a calm and a quiet that you hardly ever, even the traffic. I mean, you can get to anywhere, you would save on gas. It was quite nice. And I kept thinking, this is a wonderful opportunity. And I think souls did, maybe on a subtle level, to go within. This is a lot of things that we've taken for granted, a lot of, liberties, freedoms had been taken away, and now is really a time to prioritize, let's say. And maybe some of the things that I noticed, a lot of things that I thought were important, a lot of things I depended on, not even necessarily realizing, but you just sort of take for granted. When they're not there, it's like, okay, how well am I doing on my own here? Does life still go on? Obviously it does, but how well am I able to continue to be happy with doing without a lot of freedom that I had before, or perceived freedom? And I did pretty well. But there's always, I also discovered a lot of layers, a lot of old habits would come to the fore. So, I'm sure we had similar experiences. I won't necessarily go on and on, but it's been a really wonderful time to appreciate what I have inside, and knowing that is truly what I can control, and that's all I really need to control, is my awareness. Uh, um, and that's the gift that I can also give to others, even if it's not necessarily that I'm saying anything, but just my attitude is a vibration. Our thoughts are vibration. And on the topic of, I love the tuning in, I enjoy wordplay, and much to the chagrin of many, eye rolls galore, dad jokes and puns to a fault. But, and this is almost a little directed towards you, Judy, people tend to think of music. I like to think of music in its connection to the word muse, which means to contemplate or reflect. It's about our thinking, and there are the seven muses, the various arts. So music, musing, thinking, thoughts, vibrations. So to make music is we're all making music, and thoughts are vibrations, sound vibrations, tuning in to our higher potential, higher energy, the energy of what's coming, staying tuned, keeping a proper attitude and awareness in spite of what's we're being bombarded with. It's interesting that how much we know, that a lot of health issues are connected to our thinking, and it's ironic that in this time that we're in, the means by which they're trying to protect us from the situation can easily be a detriment to our health, in terms of the stressful way that it's the campaign, don't, everything, even like yellow and black signage, right? It can be very stressful, and that, interestingly enough, compromises our immune system. That's so anyway, the importance of maintaining the positive attitude. I'll leave it at that for now.
Another very rich and beautiful sharing. Thank you, Denzel. And yes, I will be the first to admit I have rolled my eyes at some of your wordplay, but not at that one. That one was really, really beautiful. I loved it. So fantastic. I just think, oh wow, we should have made this longer. Wow, we have so many things. So a note that came. Wow, now listening to Brother Denzel also feels the same soul, as if I'm listening to my head's voice through his mouth. How come they both speak exactly what I feel? I agree with Denzel on everything. This year had stillness and calmness on a totally different level, another level. So it's beautiful when you feel this resonance. We're quite similar under the skin, actually. So sadly, looking at the time, we're going to move a little bit and draw on your expertise and experience. So you both have a bit of an advantage, at least in a couple of ways, just from your professional or personal lives. You both have been involved in professions that require a lot of self-discipline, self-directedness. These are not 9-to-5 jobs. You are in the self-employed category. And it was actually shown that those who were self-employed were faring a little bit better than those who were not, who depended on an external structure. Already those skills of self-management, what Tanya referred to a little bit earlier, were there. So you had that in place professionally. But of course, also spiritually, you're both engaged in a spiritual study that focuses so much on personal responsibility. So, that sort of formula of it's actually what's going inside that shapes my quality of life, not ever anything outside. So you both are very experienced, at least in a couple of ways. So for those who are listening, coming themselves from different journeys and different places, as we're looking forward, and I know we had a little bit of a question on this, but what advice or guidance from your own experience might you give, this very precious moment, to use these moments to start to shape something sustainable for ourselves so we can springboard in a powerful way into the time that's coming, regardless of what's going on outside. If it's not this, it'll be something else. What sort of advice or guidance would you give looking forward? And I know the question that had come in is this idea of what's your message for the coming year, for others in the world? What newness are you determined to bring into yourself that's aligned with the call of the time? But for me, just this basic idea of how do you set yourself up for quality of life looking forward, knowing that it's going to really fall on yourself, right? I mean, that's kind of the big message of all of this is I have to really, really have a love affair with the self here and take care of the self. So what does that look like? What advice or guidance might you give souls listening? Let's start with Denzel this time.
Well, one of the things that from the get-go I've been sharing with souls when they express the concerns of what was going on was I strongly believed that something beautiful will emerge from this. Never has there been a storm that lasted forever, and so the knowing that and things happen in cycles. Once we're familiar with the cycle of anything, we know it's 7 days a week and 24 hours and 12 months and so on and so forth. And then depending on which part of the world we're in, you have extreme seasonal change. And so, I mean, and this is almost a bit of a broken record for me, but I really enjoy this aspect of just. Well, I'll continue with the analogy though. That's just that in the winter, as much as we complain about the cold and stuff like that, it's consistent with winter, and we really ideally you don't expect it to be July in December. You kind of you know that, and so in the same way, we can look at we can sort of map out that sense of okay, what's going on in the world right now. It would be the equivalent of like deep winter or the dead of night type of thing. And we all know without fail, spring is here, or the day is going to come. And because they've been beaten to death, maybe said in a shallow level, they seem, cliches, right? People sort of think, oh, it's cheesy, but it's so true though, Is the sun somewhere else on a cloudy day than where it is? No, it's there. And I know it's easier said than done, but it really, this is the wonderful opportunity. The gift is our thinking, and we can hold that. Of course, we'll be challenged. We know we won't win all of the battles, but we shall not lose the war. Just maintain that positive attitude, and everything that we need, everything that I need, I actually already have. It's so easy to forget because I need to update my phone, which I thought I just updated it last week. I need another update. What do you mean already? There's always our attention is being, you need this, and they're always threatening you with these new 50%. You're going to lose 50% if you don't, all these things that we don't need. So we have everything. Give it attention, and it shall bear good fruit.
Beautiful advice. I think patience is one of the top words I've been hearing. And not an empty patience, but as you were sharing, just to appreciate the resilience of the human spirit, and that we have resources that will enable us to move through things. And you reminded me a lot of a conversation I had this morning. Nora and I met a really, really sweet couple, a mom and dad, who had just lost their very young daughter due to very aggressive cancer. And, we said, any questions you want to ask? And they said, what can we do? And, they're feeling a certain way right now. And it's patience and time. It's very cliched, a challenge to share at that moment, but it's so true. The resilience. It's not even that the situation will pass, but the resilience of the human spirit, and to really water that as you've shared. Tanya, what would you like to share?
Well, the word that came to mind, and very much connected to getting fit, being fit, fitness, a fitness for things. And it's always, what are you fit for? I'm quite physical, and I'm certainly in the fitness industry, although I feel always quite peripheral. But I'm always more about functionality, that it needs to be practical. It needs to, be useful. And to be fit at this time is so not about a physical fitness. Not to say that how I approach physical fitness might not help me with the fitness I'm talking about, because the qualities that are often needed to develop properly, physically, the body, fitness-wise, are also ones that can be applied to the being, to the self. And I'm in a spiritual practice, so yes, perhaps a bit biased, but there's this body and then there's me, and the two are separate. And it's the me, that it's not my body that's having to deal with everything, although it's an accessory, absolutely. It's a collaborator, it's my companion in everything, but it's not making the decisions. I am. And the only way I can go into this, and I loved, brought up, Denzel, you brought up that word of contentment, with an inner contentment, an inner sense of peace, and a feeling of personal power, is if that being gets fit. And getting fit internally requires the discipline, the attention, the patience, and it requires a practice. And a lot of it you're going to get in a little breathing exercise we're going to do in a moment. Oh, I think I give a spoiler. But it's about a state of being able to let go, cultivating the ability to not hold on, perhaps, is better. Letting go can sound sometimes like we're giving up. This isn't about giving up, but in fact, not holding on and literally draining our energy, creating such a interference in our inner capacities because of the noise of all the tension that is required when we can't let go. We're just holding on even a very subtle inner level that isn't necessarily obvious. And so to cultivate, or to have practices, to take the time to even just check in, am I so wound up that there's no way I'm going to be able to approach anything in any useful kind of way? Let me get myself into a state where I can be more functional and more effective and more, I think, just enjoy what I'm doing. So this is something I teach my clients to do, but also something I personally practice, both for the body, but also for the being. So we'll do that in a moment.
We will. That was a preview. I know we're a little bit into OT. I have one quick more question for you both, but there was also a question that came for Tanya that's very connected to what you were just talking about. It was that you had mentioned in your previous sharing, you were able to be present positively. And I think you even now we're talking productively. But if you can just touch a little bit on that idea, and I think you have, but What does it mean? Can you say more about able to be present positively, something that you've cultivated in this time?
Well, what we understand and what we've experienced, certainly what I've experienced in this spiritual practice that I follow, called Raja Yoga, is through cultivating a sense of self that is on a very subtle, very energetic level of being present. I mean, we often say present, but present how? Present as what? Present in a very specific way. Actually, allows me to access a very natural positivity. It's almost as if, it's all of the holding and the tension and the influence of everything that can actually just cut me off from a capacity I have. Just very quickly, I'll use the analogy of the body has muscles. The muscles are powerful. They have a potential for power, for strength. But that strength can actually be used against the body and cause damage if the alignment is wrong. Just by not holding the body properly, I can go and use those muscles and hurt my body. Change the alignment and the same, use, and suddenly those muscles are working in a very positive way. The power is there, the ability is there, the capacity is there. But if the alignment or the positioning isn't accurate, I can actually, experience damage to my body through exerting those same muscles. Same thing, the being has power, has strength, has capacities. But those capacities, that energy, if you will, that we have, can actually be used against us when the positioning, how I identify myself, how I experience myself being present in, within my awareness, can make that energy suddenly work against me or work in a very negative way, be very affected, reactive, rather than very creative, very, contented, stable internally. And it's kind of like, this body has all this capacity awaiting use, but it requires that, I know how to drive the car properly. Otherwise I could have an accident. And the same thing with the being. So, it's a little knowledge, proper positioning, so that we access these capacities that are there for all of us, waiting to be used.
Thank you. The last question is just a one-word answer. And I know Denzel alluded to this earlier. We did receive a spiritual lesson this morning that asked us to focus on a particular quality. And I'm a simple-minded person. I so appreciated that. Because sometimes when I think about a lot of things, I just kind of stay at the thought level and I don't go deeply into the experience, which is useful to me to be able to apply or be practical. So it was so refreshing to just get one word. It was a virtue, an experience to focus on as we move into the new year. And that word Denzel mentioned already was contentment. So it was great. It was like the year of contentment. So we're going to ask each of you to give one word, a virtue. Now you might choose that word. So this might be a really boring question. But if it's a different one or one that enables that contentment to happen, one word that is a gift you're going to give to those who are tuning in about what can I focus on? What can I make this the year of? What quality, experience, focus? Just one word. Yeah, Denzel, go ahead.
Acceptance. As a complement to contentment, because I would have definitely contentment as the one, but acceptance.
Yeah, that bridge to contentment, acceptance, beautiful.
You got me.
Do you want to call a friend?
Yeah, I might have to call a friend for 500. That's a very good question. Honestly, the word that keeps popping in is love.
That's beautiful.
Love
I
it.
have no problem with that. I don't think anyone else does. Love, acceptance, you've both chosen words that are from the same family,
Mm.
that are essential. Denzel.
I love, and I again, the word play or the love of words. In certain languages, the these will sound like W's and vice versa. So I find there's a lovely connection between the word allow and love with a capital L, real love, because I find that true love allows things to be. So allowance, a love, anyway, allow acceptance.
Beautiful. Now, there was the thought to have Tanya and Denzel do a duet, but their talent is so great that Zoom cannot contain it. So it would be a disaster. But I feel you
That's
just
it.
did a duet because you played off of each other's answers and we landed up in a really special place. So thank you. There was another question, and unfortunately, we've run out of time. So we're going to have to have another New Year's Eve program.
Back to back.
We invite these souls back and we do the exact same thing.
Stay tuned.
Without the hat, because we have someone on standby who's probably cringing because well, I'll tell you why in a moment. But first, we're going to breathe newness into the new year. As Tanya had already alluded to, we're going to breathe newness into the new year. So Tanya is going to lead us through a very practical thing we can do to help us. It's her gift on a practical level to help us anytime, right now, anytime that we want to reconnect on multiple levels, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, reconnect with the best in ourselves. So go ahead, Tanya, breathe newness.
So, in fact, sometimes I'll refer to this as how to breathe in a manner that feels like love, like an expression of love. We know that breath is life, and to give life or to preserve life is such a loving thing to do. So I'm going to just share a few things to allow us to let go of the tension that's often blocking, or just the holding or the wrong positioning that doesn't allow the body to express that natural love through performing this act of sustaining life in the body. And because I, the being, will be managing and directing this, in a way I'll be creating that healthy breath and breathing in the body, I will experience the benefit of that, of basically enabling that love within the body. So the being will also be benefited by it. And so the relationship between the being and the body will work to liberate. So liberation is the goal, and that is probably the greatest act of love, is to set ourselves free. So I'm going to invite you, first of all, we're just going to align the body in a manner that the breathing can be optimal. But first, what we want to do is, a way we're going to approach the breathing is, I want you to very lightly take a finger or two and find your breastbone, and then just work your fingers gently up until you come to a little indent. Don't push hard, gentle, gentle. A little indent. It's called the sternal notch, or just above the sternal notch. There's a little indent there. And gently holding your fingers there, I want you to have the intention of feeling like you are breathing, like your fingers are a straw, and you're drawing the air in through your fingers very gently. So you inhale, it's like you're breathing in through your throat. Sometimes I'll call it Darth Vader breathing, and then you exhale in a way the same way. Sometimes it's called ocean breathing, Ujjayi breathing. This very breathy quality, and you'll notice what it has the impact to do is to make your lungs, or your lungs expand and your ribs move. And this is key. We want to liberate the ribs, activate the support structures, lengthen, elongate the spine to optimize breathing in the body. to allow the diaphragm, which is the major respiratory muscle, to be able to work optimally. So you're drawing that breath in and letting it out through that place where your fingers are sitting. So you can maintain that touch with your fingers, or if you can just do it mentally, you can put your hands down, but you want at least one hand or both on your thighs. Why don't you put both for now, and if we need to bring one back up later, we will. So with your hands lightly on your thighs, first of all, we need to get the shoulder blades against the back of whatever you're sitting in. So hopefully you have a back to your chair. But what often happens is that we tend to, round forward. So just very gently take your time. Don't violently throw yourself back against the chair, but very gently adjust your back so that your shoulder blades are in contact with the back of your chair. Hands lightly, palms down on the tops of your thighs, feet on the floor. You're going to use your awareness to connect with the back or the underside of your thighs that are touching the chair seat. And you're going to press them gradually down into the chair seat. And as you do that, it's actually going to press your rib cage further into the back of the chair. And you're going to gently hold that. So muscles will have engaged underneath in the backs of your thighs up towards the buttocks. And then you're just going to focus on the breath with your awareness. Again, the feeling of that breathy breathing. And feeling like the space of the lungs, of the ribs is expanding, is lightening up. Tissues are stretching, letting go. If there was a fist here in the lower ribs, right in the middle where your solar plexus is, it's slowly opening up like a hand, opening up and releasing. And then you're going to gently release that pressure of your thighs. And now it's as if you're going to go the other way. So your thighs, the tops of your thighs where they're underneath your hands, are going to try to press up into your hands. They're not going to be able to move. But the action of trying to press up into your thighs is going to readjust the positioning of your pelvis into a more ideal position where the support muscles will start to engage in the lower abdomen, lower back, inner thigh. And it has the bonus of liberating the diaphragm and the ribs. So now, as you continue to try and press the thighs gently up into your hands, allowing the position of the pelvis to reposition itself and muscles to engage in that lower torso, upper thigh area, focus on the breath again. Using the awareness to check in that I'm still gently pressing up. And it's as if I'm allowing my body to open up, my torso, my upper body to open up. My head feels like it's floating on top of my spine. My shoulders feel nice and open. My ribs are gently expanding with each inhale, releasing with each exhale. And you're just focusing, and then as you bring the awareness up, it's as if I'm connecting the space of the breath with the space of the mind. Yeah, the body, the being, because this is where I want to position my sense of self now, is up here in the center of the forehead. And it feels as if these two spaces are coming into harmony. And they're both expressing such a lovely, loving, positive energy, activity. The action of the breath, very loving, very liberated, very freeing, life-giving, and the activity of the being in the mind. There's just a lot of lightness, but power, but a very positive energy. My body has repositioned to work optimally, to breathe optimally. And I've positioned my sense of self here in the center of the forehead as the driver of this body. I'm just taking a few more breaths, although I will continue, you will all continue breathing. Perhaps with more freedom, with a newness that I invite you to return to in the year ahead. It's a very simple technique. You can now release your thighs, but it allows you to tap into the power you have to liberate, to enrich, to love. Om Shanti.
Thank you so much, Tanya. Everyone always appears very royal after me. So it's not just breathing newness, but royalty, a very royal and loving way to support the self. And I think it's someone answers that last question that came, how to change that alignment in the times of storms, storms that might be coming from something from a long time. So we can maybe explore that on a future occasion, because we are so over time, but good use of the time. And we have a very third special guest waiting. And the reason I said they might cringe is because what they do professionally is they are a journalist. They interview people professionally, and they're probably thinking, what is Judy doing? What kind of crazy interview was that? So anyways, hopefully they'll erase all of that from their mind. But we're delighted that they are able to join us. I know it's a little late at night for them, but it's so sweet that they're here. Eric is not just an incredibly talented journalist and producer, but he's also national coordinator of the Brahma Kumaris in Canada. There he is, just magically appeared. So nice to see you, Eric.
Good night, Om Shanti, everyone. Hello,
And
nice to be with you.
we asked Eric to join, to also add his voice, to help us tune into the new year, to share greetings and blessings and any, again, advice from his wealth of spiritual experience to guide souls as they go into the new year. So, Eric, over to you.
Thank you, Judy, but not at all. I don't know if I can really share so much. I feel underdressed here. I don't have my hat. Plus, being on your stage in your company, I know that you also and Tanya and Denzel are fountains of wealth in terms of wisdom and joyful thoughts. So I can only be happy to add a few words on behalf of the whole Canadian group here. I'm very fortunate to know all the Canadian centers of the Brahma Kumaris, from Halifax all the way to Vancouver. And whenever I'm invited to join any program, I always enjoy, I think this is an easy ticket to any city in the country now. And so we just click and we appear. So this is becoming magic TV now and magic traveling. I know you've been already reflecting on certain ideas and you're running out of time. If I keep talking, we'll be hitting 2021 and you'll say, stop, we're already in a new year. It's too late now to say anything else. So I'll try to stop before the new year. But I'm actually very, very inspired this year about this change, not just because we want to, like many people, want to forget 2020. And the feeling I have is I don't want to forget. I want to understand what happened in the last year, and I want to learn from it and grow from it. So yes, moving from one year to another, but not with the feeling of ignoring what just happened and turning my back to the old year, trying to see, salvation in the new one. Secrets are still in the year that just passed. And I think it's still good for me to reflect on what just happened and to make sure I learned the lessons I was meant to learn in the year 2020. Otherwise, those lessons might just be coming back to me again in 2021. So if we want newness, I think we have to really learn from the past and grow from the past and not just leave the past behind. So that's my inspiration at the moment, to appreciate the year that is just ending and to really respect time in all the messages and the expressions of time that we witnessed in 2020, and to take that with me in the new year, learning my lessons and growing from what I've learned, so I can face the challenges that will probably be waiting for me in the new year. Of course, we always wish people, good things. We don't wish people, well, what you've gone through is nothing. Just wait for the coming year. Your test will be bigger and more difficult. Good luck, enjoy. So we try to be a little bit more positive, but we cannot ignore that when we move forward. It's like in school, you just don't get easier exam year after year. They may get more difficult every year, but we're more skilled, we're more talented. We learned from our previous exams. The 2 words, you were asking for 1 word earlier to each one, but for me, I will start writing my new year with 2 words. And I like this notion that a new year is a chance to also start a new page, a blank page. And on that page, I would write the 2 words intention and attention. And I really feel that what I want to focus on in the coming month is paying attention, but first checking what's my intention, so that the attention I have doesn't become a form of tension, doesn't become a form of heaviness. And really what I wish for everyone and what I wish for myself in a very selfish way, I will include myself in the good wishes for everyone and design the good wishes for everyone on the basis of what I wish for myself. But it's good, so everyone will benefit. My intention would be to give more time to what is really essential, what is essential, and what is exceptional in my own inner journey. And I really feel that this, we talk about, there's a worldly reality, there's a spiritual reality, but I think there's also a divine reality. It might sound sometimes a bit religious, but I feel there is a call from a higher source, a higher power, a higher identity calling me and trying to engage a conversation with me. So we can call it the divine, the source, the one, God. And I think that if we give more space to that divine experience of myself and my relationship with what is higher than me, I find that giving more time to that space will allow me to acquire energy which is greater than the worldly, mundane identity or reality, higher than the spiritual identity and reality, and lead me to a conversation with the divine. And giving more time to that space, for me, is very inspiring. And I feel my experience is that when I connect at that time, Tanya was taking us to moving our energy upwards and feeling the presence here, but we can move even higher and go beyond and connect to that source and feel the conversation happening. And I really feel that's an invitation for a conversation, a dialogue. And conversing with the divine is a space that creates inspiration, power, beauty. It's the source of all virtues. So if my intention is to nurture that inner sacred divine space, then I will pay attention in the same way that when I walk on ice, I don't want to look like an old, scared person, barely moving, crawling on the ice. I want to keep my dignity as if nothing happened, but I want to make sure I don't fall and put my old feet in the air and I look silly. So I pay attention, but I keep my own dignity in walking. So in the same way, if I have the intention to nurture that sacred space, I think my attention will be very natural. And I will pay attention to the way I use my time, the way I look at others, the way I do things, the way I say things. So that attention would be natural, and it will not be heavy. So this will be a form of expression of my good wishes to each and every one, and happy to speak on behalf also of the whole community of the Brahma Kumaris in Canada, and to join you in the program here, with all of you. So with all my heart and my love and my inspiration for this higher spiritual and divine journey, I want to just share all my good wishes and pure feelings to each and every one. And may 2021 bring amazing intentions and great attention, but still free from any tension. So greetings to each and every one. And thank you for inviting me, Judy. It's very kind of you, and hope I didn't spoil the party now.
It was very selfish on my part to invite you because I knew that you would bring so much. We had beautiful servings of spirituality through the interview, and you just put a cherry on top. So it was really, really sweet. And actually, it reminded me of something you shared with me recently that stayed with me a lot. You were saying that, many feel, I just want this to be over. I just want this to be over. And you were saying, I don't want to look back and feel that I wasted that time, that I didn't use that time fully, just wanting it to be over, but there was so much to be gained. So very connected to your idea of attention and intention is using that time in such a powerful, and I love the idea of divine way. So thank you so much. I know it's late and none of us stay up till midnight. I know. We have here, I have a
We
note.
don't know.
No, we don't know what midnight is. We have a note here from Chrissy in Australia, and she says, "What a treasure." See what I'm saying? What a treasure, Eric. Now, Chrissy, you may not know that we do call Eric our national treasure. It's the only time that he actually turns red, as you can
Yeah,
see happening right now. He is our national treasure. I think you will all agree with me. We also got a comment about wanting a recording of this. So just to let you know, we have been spotlighting everyone so that your privacy is protected except for the speakers, because we're streaming to YouTube as well. So there will be a recording of this, and it will be available on our website, on our BK channel. So you're welcome to review again if you wish, and we'll send the link out. But thank you so much. I'm wondering if before we share our New Year's blessing from here, if we can bring up, this is a challenge for our tech team here of one, if we can bring up Tanya, Denzel, Eric, and Nora. Can we do that? Because I really want you to meet the tech team who has been making this all possible. You can remove me if you need. There you go. So there's ITBK Calgary is Nora. We're all pointing, but she's in a different place on everyone's screen. So I could be pointing to nothing right here. I don't know. But I just want to appreciate Nora's contribution as well. She's invaluable. I don't know how to do much of this. So she really makes it so smooth and easy and wonderful. So thank you so much, Nora. But also want to take the time while on the screen to appreciate Tanya and Denzel's presence in song and wisdom. It was invaluable. And Eric, what can I say? You are our national treasure.
Thank you.
Godly appointment. It's quite beautiful. We do have a blessing for everyone for the new year, and we'll bring that up on the screen now. Wow, it comes with music. You are a creative soul who can transform any moment into an opportunity to bestow, support, and empower. And I think we've met 3 souls tonight who are quite adept at doing that. Big hearts. So that's your blessing for the new year, or you might have created one for yourself. shower yourself with blessings at this time. And we have one more. Many of you have seen this. It's a really sweet, fireworks are a huge part of New Year's celebration. So we have some fireworks for you. Some of you may have already seen this, so you get to enjoy it again. But here you go. Very special fireworks. They're like real fireworks. They're over way too soon. You know, we had a blessing come from our regional coordinator, and it was, you know, this year may you blossom. So there you go. Those were amazing. That'll be in the recording too. If you really enjoyed that, you can see it again. So this somewhat brings us to the end of the program. We're so over time, it's not even funny. But we have a few moments left for reflection, and we've talked so much in this program about what I need to do internally, my intention, my efforts. And I thought maybe these last moments we can look at what we'd like to share with others through the power of our mind. I know that Denzel shared on this really beautifully, this idea of musing and frequency and sharing through subtle means. So we'll have a little short meditation to conclude. And at this point, from all the family here in Calgary and beyond, many, many blessings from the heart for this moment and for the new year. Thank you so much for joining us this evening or whatever time it is for you in the world. I think, Chrissy, it's morning, but it's such a pleasure to have you with us. We deeply treasure your presence. So I will sign off at this point. Within each of us are such remarkable, unlimited capacities that far transcend the physical. The capacity for kindness, for compassion, for patience, for lightness, for peace. The list is endless. And as I sit here now, I focus on one of those capacities, one quality that is especially meaningful to me, that really touches my heart. I focus so deeply on that quality that I begin to feel it. Feel it filling the space of my mind. Feel it fill the vessel of my heart. Feel as if I become that quality. And just by being absorbed in the feeling of that quality, naturally, automatically, it begins to radiate out into the world. Wrapping around the entire globe, touching the minds and hearts of souls on the other side of the world. This quality is my God-given gift to the world. And the more I share it, the more it increases within me. Moving forward, I will continue to grow this quality. Go deeply into the experience of it. Allow it to create a bridge between me and the divine. And let it be my gift to every soul in the human world family. Om Shanti. Once again, thank you so much for joining this evening. You have made this event. We can unmute everyone. You will not be seen, but if you want to share your voice and greetings with others, a firework of blessings, this is your moment. We'll see if we can unmute you all, and if you want to just say hello, you're welcome to. You can unmute yourself.
Thanks, everyone. Really loved it. It was so peaceful. Just what I needed. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you for all the heartwarming message and incredible wisdom. I feel like I'm ready to go to sleep with peace. Thank you.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you, sister. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Thank you so much, and I would like to wish everyone Happy New Year and a beautiful New Year is waiting for everyone.
This is Namzata.
Go ahead, Namrata.
Yeah, it was wonderful to join this New Year's celebration with whole Brahma Kumari, and I am so happy. I think my whole year will go very beautifully.
I believe it will too. Thank you for joining.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
A happy new year to everyone. Om Shanti. It was a blissful experience. And we hope, and I hope that 2021 is going to be fragrance packed, just those, the same like those fireworks.
I'm sure it will be. Thank you for sharing.
Hello, all you beautiful ones. This is Chrissy in Australia.
Chrissy.
I can't get a visual up because the signal's not good enough, but I just wanted to thank you all for your beautiful presence, all of you. I was just going to tune in to listen to Tanya and Denzel. I couldn't leave. It was the energy from all of you was really special, and I blessings for the year to come, and may you keep your childlike wonderment and curiosity always ignited as you move through the year. So lots and lots of love from Australia, and a happy new year.
It
Om
was
Shanti.
such a treat.
Right back to you. Right back at you, Chrissy.
Greetings,
Boomerang.
Chrissy. We're a very, very big fan of yours. So we love your voice. We love your commentaries and your style. You're a great lady in the spiritual dimension. So we love you very much.
Oh, that's made. What a beautiful way to start the year with blessings. Thank you. Lots and lots of love.
Lots of love back from Canada. All of Canada.
That's right.
It's great.
All right. Well, I guess we have to end this meeting. Sangeeta, thank you so much for those blessings. I guess we need to all fly. We're just packed with so much now. Fly into the new year. Again, big thank you for joining. You made this very, very sweet. And we look forward to connecting with you in whatever ways possible, if not online, through the heart, through the mind, the coming year. Om Shanti.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Good night.
Om
Happy
Shanti.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.